for EDG because that flex pick forced KT to an awkward situation. They had to take champions that could lane against both, and splitting the difference actually hurt KT overall in their cohesion, so some bans levied to that might be a good idea.
Yeah, they're already going to avoid the Kai'Sa situation. iBoy obviously very comfortable on that champion, but the Shen I think is a very good ban from EDG against Team Liquid as well, providing one of those tanks with the cross-map mobility.
Also going to take out the Tom Kench, getting rid of some more of that map-wide mobility. Aatrox also banned out by EDG, while Team Liquid says, you know what, that Akali, we're not dealing with that.
One of those pick your poison situations because Alistar is open through all of this. If they do choose to ban the Urgot looks like the clear-cut ban because of how strong Ray's performance was in the previous game. He finally looked to be flexing his muscles, but we see another contender for the bans as the Aurelia has to be taken out.
And it looks like that's just Team Liquid saying, all right, you can have Urgot if you want him, but we'll take Alistar if you don't.
Exactly, and it's going to be up to Impact. Well, not exactly,
okay,
my
this is why I'm not an analyst.
It is the lovers duo, DoubleLift and Olleh, Xayah, Rakan, bottom lane.
They broke up for a while, but now they're back together.
And the hindsight analysis is, well, we can't play with the Aurelia, we don't want to play against it. No Aurelia in this video game was actually what they wanted to deal with, maybe easing Pobelter in some of those tricky Aurelia matchups.
But now, that Alistar that I mentioned, that pick that's been so popular, that most banned support over the course of Worlds 2018, he's going to the same side that also got Urgot.
We've definitely got some tier list struggles going on with the Urgot and Alistar put together for one of the few times in recent days of Worlds. We'll see where they go from here, and they're going for a lane-busting duo with the Lucian.
Yeah, this looks very good for EDG. Alistar and Urgot on the front lines. We've already seen in the previous game, Ray, exceptional performance on that Urgot, and now they are going to have possibility, with Lucian Alistar going right to the Xayah Rakan.
Lucian Alistar, such a scary lane to go up against. The aggro potential between those two is just huge as Team Liquid jokes around a little bit, hovers around the Teemo, but instead they'll lock in the Syndra as their final pick of the first round of the draft here.
Yeah, that seems to be what the protection ban of Aurelia was for, trying to set Pobelter up with the Syndra. However, there are going to be some more options they need to take off the table. Things like LeBlanc, maybe even you feel like you need to get the Echo or something out of there facing Scout, because Scout is definitely a guy that will look to play an assassin, try and kill that Syndra in the laning phase even.
And if you're Pobelter, I think you focus on the combative champions rather than, say, the tanky champions that can lane through a Syndra. I think you definitely deprioritize something like a Galio ban and just deal with these kind of potential kill matchups like the LeBlanc. And they've already obliged. LeBlanc is gone. We knew already the Aurelia and Akali have been dealt with. We'll see where the final ban goes if there's another pick that Pobelter just isn't sure that he can get through.
Well, Edward Gaming don't want to deal with Ornn in the top lane there from Impact. They're saying Urgot can smash tanks around pretty easily, but Ornn's one of those tanks that just has such a massive impact in the game, we'd rather not deal with it, as Team Liquid is going to put one more ban towards that mid-game, get rid of the Galio.
And I feel like I want to be greedy because we haven't seen much Yasuo recently, guys, and that would be a fun one to see. Potential matchup, we've seen Rookie do good things against it, but largely a skill matchup and one that Yasuo can, of course, win wall that ultimate.
Yeah, Yasuo, especially with the win wall, gets a lot of actual lane pressure against the Syndra. That does take into account junglers and how you're pathing around, of course, but it definitely is a possibility along with the Echo. We're trying to come up with these melee assassins for him because that is the type of mentality we have going into this game. Meanwhile, Team Liquid, they need to secure for themselves something for the front line. This team does not do well when they don't have a point man with a lot of HP, some crowd control for the front side to work around. Even though they have the Rakan, which is quick engage, they need some beef.
May I present to you Sion?
The biggest meatball in League of Legends.
He even gets more beef with all the buffs recently, so.
And with his W passive text literally just reads bigger meatball.
Let's just hope his drifting is on point, because Impact, of course, had some struggles with that earlier in the tournament. Not necessarily a true engaged champion, but he's got a Rakan potential for Syndra, so not going to be necessarily shouldering everything. Let's see how EDG rounds out the draft. Need a jungler in this second round.
Along with the jungler, they also need that other solo laner, and it will be the Lissandra. And of course, I do have to point out, you could still see swaps between the solo lanes. Urgot can go mid, Lissandra can go top. That is a thing that could happen if they decide to do it, but let's see what they go for in the jungle here.
Yeah, I do like the Lissandra into the Syndra. It's not quite as exciting as these assassins we were talking about with, Echo and Yasuo possibilities, but Lissandra can self-ultimate if she immunes the last half of the Syndra ultimate when the balls start to fly, or also set up kills with the engage that she does have.
And EDG can play junglers like the NTaliyah when it's not clear love in the lineup, when it's Haro, who does fit the meta junglers a little bit stronger. A lot of point-and-click CC. Lissandra, of course, very easy. Alistar and Urgot and other lanes. Definitely the sort of game where the NTaliyah can prosper.
Haro has been such an important addition to Edward Gaming for me. This guy just completely jump-started their early game, and he can definitely look to do it here. NTaliyah does need some more levels in her threaded volley, the Q nowadays to have the same output, but you do have possibilities of crowd control if you can set it up with something like, say, Alistar or Lissandra. Hold someone in place, then get the seismic shove. Those are very reliable combos.
And when you look at the Nocturne, that of course has been a power pick, when it comes to people to dive on, not as clear cut against a comp like EDG's. The solo laners, Urgot and Lissandra, you're staying away from them. Alistar's going to be goaltending away from the Lucian. Feels like almost the NTaliyah is the modus operandum here for the Nocturne, because otherwise can be tricky to actually pull the trigger.
Oh, absolutely. And if you go in, if you have some sort of a mistiming or a miscommunication, you're going to be dead pretty quickly against a roster like what EDG has picked for themselves. And we even heard from earlier in the day from DoubleLift that Liquid has struggled communicating. It's been an issue for this team, especially, as he said, on bigger stages, where it seems like everybody's just not playing for the team together. But here, it is their last game on the World's 2018 stage. They have effectively been eliminated now, and what they want to do is play spoiler to EDG. Walk out of this one with their heads held high, 3-3 record, take the win here and say, you might have beat us, but you got to play against somebody really, really strong going into the quarterfinals.
Fair enough. Team Liquid playing for some pride, playing for another win on the board. And let's get into the game, my friends. Summoner's Rift coming up quick.
And this is definitely not the sort of game where we're going to discount EDG's chances or TL's chances when it comes to just this one-on-one best of one. It was definitely the one TL fans were looking at the end of the day as a potential victory. Of course, much has changed since then. EDG is coming off that ultra high of taking down KT. But Team Liquid, we're talking about this playing the spoiler. Playing the spoiler, playing for pride, has lifted people to some very impressive performances this tournament. So I want to see if TL can find some nice advantages, especially when Nocturne hits 6.
EDG's coming off a win over KT. Liquid also won their last match against Mad Team, which feels good for them. We'll see who can continue that into a 2-0 win streak. As now Olleh is going to stand on a ward here in the brush. Everybody's just sort of chilling out for now. Level 1. Sometimes in a game like this where one team doesn't really have anything to lose, you might see something crazy at level 1, but Team Liquid doesn't want to opt into that this time around. Instead, they'll just hang out.
Yeah, and in hanging out, they still have to deal with deep vision from EDG. EDG have gotten wards on both buffs here, so they will see everything about the Team Liquid start. There's the one on the blue buff that Team Liquid know about. They threw out the couple of autos, couldn't finish it in time, and Xmithie will start topside.
There's not many jungle starts where not just going for a shallow ward around the spawn of the Rift Scuttler is the modus operandum or the normal thing to do, but in this particular case, I guess because NTaliyah will always have a very significant advantage in trading early, level 2, level 3, they're happy enough just to know which side of the jungle the start is, and then we can track Haro's movement around the map in response to that.
We know NTaliyah can move around the map very quickly. She can farm up very safely. Gets a little bit low early on when that first clear, but after that, it's pretty easy for her to just take down all those camps with no real effort extended.
All right, something that you should note when playing against Xayah Rakan, the level 2 all-in engage, incredibly scary. So, Olleh and DoubleLift pushing up here. Meiko and iBoy are respecting it. The champions just work so well when they buff up each other, giving each other attack speed there. The damage output definitely very threatening.
A lot of respect. They actually went Ardent Blaze level 1 on the Lucian just to check brush and potentially snipe away a minion without pushing the wave too hard.
So Ardent Blaze has actually become the most common start for Lucian as well because it has such a high base damage for level 1.
Speaking of base damage.
Yeah, that's not a situation you want to be in. Impact gets the really bad end of the trade there.
Yeah, and they both have corrupting potions to chug, so he should be able to back off off here. There are actually a lot more minions for him to get. So even though Impact taking the beating as far as the health bar goes, could collect more money than Ray.
Xmithie will just clear out the crab here on the bottom side. That gets him to level 3 here on the Nocturne.
Double scuttle, actually, picked up here by the Nocturne of all things, even with the vision advantage. So Haro went super defensive, and the full clear on the bot side cost him a lot, as seeing a bit of trading down bot.
EDG thinking about going for a fight here. Everybody is level 2 in the bottom lane. Remember, there was so much focus on the bottom lane last game between EDG and KT. iBoy and Meiko are no strangers to getting scrappy early on.
Yeah, early levels Taliyah, just trying to, clear out the jungle camps here. Doesn't want to walk into a Nocturne. It's very difficult to land, the combo, especially considering the spell shield. And Haro has been able to clear out almost a full clear here. We've been able to reset and go back to purchase, feeling much more confident. During this time, though, Pobelter on the Syndra, trying to push in on Scout, gotten a lot of harassment down as well, giving him this lead in health potion charges as well as CS.
If you're not going in aggressive against the Syndra, you're just getting outranged and out-traded. Much harder to go for those conditional Q trades as the Lissandra compared to Syndra with the outrange. So definitely in the early levels, Syndra very comfortable.
Very big thing too for Pobelter, just personally, him on the world stage has constantly been looking to prove himself, especially following MSI. So having a strong performance here will go a long ways.
And when you talk about strong performances on Team Liquid, throughout the regular season, throughout normal play in the North American LCS, somebody that always comes up as one of their consistent players, one of those rocks that keeps the team going, is Xmithie in the jungle. But so far here at group stage, Xmithie has actually had a very subpar performance compared to what he normally does. He is second to last in jungle proximity. He is very low in kill participation at 15, and he's still in the bottom half when it comes to farming up. He hasn't been able to make anything happen, while Haro is able to get himself into the bottom lane and blow some summoners.
You'll be happy with the flash trade support for AD carry, but it's not double flash, it's not multiple summoners here. So in terms of that unscouted gank, it actually goes pretty decently for TL.
Yep, Haro going to be able to go in, invade, lay down a ward afterwards. Team Liquid should definitely know that there is one there, though. And this is something you should note for professional games, tracking where the enemies have been and where the probable wards that they have left behind, so that you can play around it afterwards. Now we can see Xmithie finished up the Krugs on the Nocturne, and he is heading down here along with Pobelter, actually with the idea that Haro is still there.
Probably looking to contest the scuttle as well. I imagine Xmithie's pretty close to level 6. Won't be getting the scuttle, though.
Haro's already got that one taken care of for himself and EDG. Xmithie has to back away from it. Haro is a little bit behind in experience, but as I already said, he got himself in a bottom lane. He blew a summoner spell. He's affecting the lanes, which Xmithie still has yet to do.
And Haro also did the route red into Krug, so he's got a very early spawn of the second spawn of Krugs to rely on, so he can go farm that up very quickly and feel very nice about the scaling. Let's see, though, on a ward currently, Xmithie, they will know that he's still not level 6, so the bottom lane doesn't have to be too scared.
They're just getting huge, massive value out of this ward they placed down. It was expected, definitely communicated there was a ward somewhere, but with the control ward not spotting it over the wall, does end up with Xmithie finishing this camp, not quite 6 even after the double scuttle start. We'll continue, and we'll have that paranoia very soon.
And Nocturne is one of those champions that once you hit level 6, whenever the ultimate is off of cooldown, we want to see you looking for a play. It's such a powerful tool. It needs to be utilized early and often in order to truly succeed. We'll see what can happen once he gets there. But now bottom side, it's going to be plays coming out from ADG yet again. And first blood over to iBoy. They make it look easy.
Yeah, that was very quick. You barely even got to go along with the play-by-play, my friend. Alistar in, Ignite down, and Olleh is dead. Also, the kill credit going over to iBoy for the Lucian funds his early game. This is going to be a big turnaround.
See, Nocturne topside here has ultimate.
Going after that enemy Urgot. Xmithie, can you make this one happen? Looks like it's going to be yes. Ray tries to flash, but it's ultimately just wasted. Good pickup there for TL.
And the war between the old teammates here, Impact and Ray. First blood in that little skirmish goes over to Impact as Xmithie's able to turn the tides. Let's see at the bottom, though. Olleh was walking towards the brush and then only got to press the W there for a second, not getting close enough. Here it is, though. Xmithie uses the blast cone to get over the side and engage at the exact same time here from Impact.
It's all about your timings, the cross-map play happening. This is sort of punishment that we never saw in the previous game in the same matchup. So credit to TL finding something on the top side.
That flash was so wonky. I'm just going to throw that out there. That was not going to get Ray anywhere. Really don't think he should have expended that one there, but hey, he tried.
I mean, Impact kind of is the guy that Ray looked up to and trained with a lot in his time in the North American LCS. And definitely a lot of respect between those two guys, the sword and the shield.
Yeah.
In this one, the shield decided to call a Nocturne.
Yeah.
And that's how you beat the sword.
I didn't know there was a phone a friend option.
There absolutely is. The shield phones his friend the wristband, and they take down the sword together.
I wondered where you were going with that.
I was trying to think of something else that you would use in a fight that goes on your arm, and I thought of like a bracer or a guard or something else. All right, bracer's better than wristband. Wristband sounds like something you wear to get into a concert. All right, blue buff going to be taken low here. EDG trying to steal this one away. Helping Haro out on that. Smite secured by Xmithie, though. This man is known in North American LCS for his accurate smites, and that one's going to pay off.
Yep, Team Liquid do retain the gold advantage, even after the first blood bonus did go over to iBoy in the bottom. It gave him most of his way towards the Blade of the Ruined King, but not quite there yet. Level 6s have started to come in. Olleh, though, a little bit behind, of course, because he did go down. So Team Liquid don't have the option of the all-in. You can see Xmithie, though, on Nocturne's waiting for Olleh to ding 6. So maybe just another minion, and they will go for the play.
Paranoia a couple of seconds away on the bot side. Well, we see Olleh, who kept the summoners, remember.
Xmithie's just about ready. There we go. Here comes Team Liquid's 3 versus 2 play. They're still able to get their AD carry away on the side of EDG, and now the counterattack's coming in. Haro makes his way down here just to make sure the bottom lane is protected. Pobelter wanting to come around from the side, see if there's any follow-up, but EDG are going to back themselves away until the teleport is called in. It's going to be a 5-man bloodbath. Ray finds himself isolated right now. The Sion charges forward, but it's going to be Scout with the flash into the multiple person CC. Damage coming down onto the health bars of Team Liquid, but Scout's the first one to fall. Impact going to be taken below half, but now Meiko has to retreat. A 2-man stun from Scout of the Week. iBoy tries to escape. The decimating smash isn't able to find him, but Ray will be the sacrificial lamb. Xmithie grabs that kill as Team Liquid manages to find the fight.
And they just crumble there. Scout with a big mistake on Lissandra. He went in and got the God initiation in the middle of Team Liquid, but he chose to offensively use his Lissandra ultimate. As soon as Pobelter sees that, he lets her rip with the Syndra ultimate, and they get the kill.
He puts his faith in the aftershock proc with the armor and MR being enough to keep him alive, but it wasn't. Very extended Ace of Predator replay coming through in this one. I want you guys to watch also on Pobelter after the TP. Big scout of the week. From the start, though, the moment you saw iBoy open up with the Lucian ult, there was a bit of a crushing feeling from a TL perspective, but this one ends up coming up big for the North American first seed.
Yeah, EDG hungry to turn this one around. They love those big fights down bottom. Pobelter did push off Ray, and then Impact going for Ray also I thought was a mistake because Scout got this big initiation, but then he ults DoubleLift because he saw DoubleLift use his ult, but there's no team around Scout to follow up on that, and without his defensive ultimate, which by the way would have damaged the entire Team Liquid team, that allows Team Liquid, they turn it around, they clean up some kills, and they increase the gold lead.
And a shout out to Impact, who I think played his role on Sion very, very well. The first choice was to ult Ray out of the fight, and then was in the CC chain after Aftershock fell off of Scout in order to take down the Lissandra. So well played there, and the first meaningful movement in the gold lead goes the way of TL.
Very strong defense there from Team Liquid. They stay together, and they actually have this cohesive team fight, focusing down Scout and pushing it backwards. Now, with the turret down as well, they're well positioned to try and snowball this early game.
And I mentioned last game that despite the fact that in regular LPL play and in the play-ins, EDG was this early game team. So far in groups, they haven't really been that. This game, they're falling behind early as well. Team Liquid's going to secure themselves the Drake, and honestly, Team Liquid and Drake's has been a bit of a meme so far in groups.
With all their power, Captain Fire's TL is actually looking to contest this Rift. They're not giving up a free lane swap to the side of EDG.
Team Liquid definitely should have an offensive mind right now with the gold lead that they have. Trying to set it up here. They run EDG off of the Rift Herald and continue to start it up themselves. With Ray in the bottom lane, they see him on minions. They should know 100% they have full autonomy on the top side.
Easy take here for Team Liquid. They'll secure the Shelly for themselves right after grabbing that Infernal Drake first and foremost. Neutral objectives going their way. Continues to bode well.
And if I'm an NA fan, I'm so happy to see TL understand their strong, understand where their bread is buttered and say, actually, no, there's nothing free for you. We win in every 5v5 at this point in the game after our nice trades in the bot side. They don't give up any free objectives, and they only continue to increase their lead.
During that time, Ray was able to push the minion wave into the turret. A few minions denied, but Impact is able to arrive afterwards. And they've swapped DoubleLift and Olleh up to the top side here to try and continue on that pressure.
Lanes have gone topsy-turvy as those bottom lanes will set up shop there on the top side of the map. You can see farm pretty close between the top laners and the junglers. Mid lanes leading into about a 20 advantage towards the side of Pobelter over Scout on that Syndra, while bottom lane's pretty close as well. Meiko taken very low, doesn't have to pop the ultimate or anything, but he'll definitely have to think about it next time he walks that close.
Yeah, and he'll continue to stay chunked out here. He does not have sustain up there, so that is going to be a very weak hold for EDG. Looks like Team Liquid, though, they are recalling the top side of the map and instead moving in for deeper vision around the red buff that's about to spawn. Impact has placed a control ward, and that might be what they're setting up for.
Deep vision is definitely what you want when you can combine it with the Rift Herald and also Nocturne's ability to pick up a pick. For now, nice triangle of control wards from EDG on their blue side means that no deep vision will actually stick there. Nocturne just clearing, I imagine, pretty close to level 11 coming up soon for Xmithie, who's much farther ahead on experience than some of his previous games.
Yeah, I criticized Xmithie for falling behind early in terms of golden experience while at the same time having a very low kill participation and jungle proximity. But so far in this game, he's not victim to either one of those things. 2-0 and 1 on the Nocturne, 100% kill participation so far for his team, as well as being up 15-20 CS. He's having a much better performance, which when you look at how Team Liquid wins, it's often through him making sure that he's facilitating everyone else.
And they are not damaging the top turret. They've actually made the call to rotate Olleh and DoubleLift down to make a Rift Herald play around mid lane. Impact joining as well means it's going to be 5 members trying to push this one through, but the Taliyah wall does cut them off.
Taliyah wall wants to stop them. Shelly's going to rear back and charge in. She won't take the turret down herself. It'll need a little bit more backup from Team Liquid. They can get in there and find those 2 auto attacks.
So they do take down the mid turret with their Rift Herald, immediately backing off though. Not trying to overextend here as EDG did reactively collapse.
The last easy objective is going to be a tricky one with the wards we mentioned already on the blue side.
Ray goes
hard. Mid lane.
Scout wants to go after Pobelter pretty hard here. Meiko flashing forward into the headbutt, pulverized. Pobelter very low, very dead. Scout making sure of that one as EDG pushed 5 men strong into the mid lane.
What an answer from EDG, right back down Team Liquid's throats through the mid lane here. After they disperse, EDG are going to answer mid. DoubleLift should be able to get topside though, since Team Liquid did fan out to push both side lanes. So top turret will take some damage. Xmithie is counter jungling the Krugs on bottom side as well. And in the end, Team Liquid still will overall come out ahead in gold.
An even style trade in this scenario is something you'll take as EDG, and getting the mid lane turret down as their only turret does mean there's that chance for a Baron play, that chance for deep vision. For a playmaking, you want the mid lane turret down, and that's at least a small consolation for EDG.
Also for playmaking, EDG want a target. Pobelter on the Syndra now is the best target possible. He has no summoner spells left after this play. Here's the replay though. Use the cleanse, use the flash over here, but EDG had too many forms of initiation. Yeah. Lissandra as well as Alistar eventually found him, and now he has to be very scared. No summoner spells available. He knows he is prime target for EDG.
Life sucks in a long lane, and Syndra for sure. Longest lane possible in mid with these the outer turrets are already down for a 16-minute game, so this kind of has to meander, and he wants to be playing a tempo game with his jungler, pushing up and trying to influence the map and make EDG accountable after the good early game from TL. Doesn't feel like the 2,700 gold lead or so right now, especially in Pobelter's eyes.
Important to look at the fact that the next Drake is also spawning in 45 seconds, and it's also one of those Drakes that everybody finds so important in the Infernal. It is one of the critiques, as I mentioned earlier, about Liquid, that they seem to go really, really hard for Drakes. They have a over 70% Drake control in their games, but it has lost them some of their previous matches already as they have been punished for those takes. But with one Infernal already under their belts, getting a second could be a big bonus.
And a lot of those previous unsuccessful Drakes from Team Liquid did come down a lot to execution in the team fights, which they talked about, you know, not having the best communication, and I think plan going into them as well, doing a bit too much on the fly kind of reaction. This game has looked much more coordinated from them.
Clearing up the last of the vision here around the aforementioned Infernal Drake. Impact grouping nice and early. Lissandra TP is up. One TP ward spotted is what Olleh walks past. They don't clear out the control ward either, but it's just going to be a fast Infernal Drake take for TL.
Drake take for Team Liquid, and now they back away. This is what people want to see from Team Liquid, securing the objective, not taking a needless fight afterwards, instead just claiming that small victory, resetting and planning out the next one. Team Liquid learning from some of those mistakes before, maintaining the 3,000 gold lead, having the double scaling bonus of 2 Infernals, and now we'll see them move up towards the northern part of the map, secure some more vision around there. Baron will be live in just over a minute.
But all the easy objectives now are largely down from a TL perspective, and finding a way to actually pressure inner turrets, the vision is too shallow to do that. Baron hasn't spawned. A lot of teams already at Worlds 2018 have found themselves in this scenario where it gets a lot less easy or straightforward. The checklist gets a bit more murky when you're in this scenario and want to work out what's the next objective we target.
Yeah, it feels a bit tedious, but the next objective that arrives that no one really wants to do is the homework of laying down and increasing your vision through enemy territory. Since all these outer turrets are down, you push in, you get the wards between these jungle corridors to make it more difficult for your opponents to have any sort of gold income to keep up with you. That's the way that you slowly increase your gold until the next neutral comes.
And the reason that you kind of put it as one of these ironic objectives or one of these less desirable objectives is it often has to be relayed. One swoop of it is not enough. You have to come back. It's going to be defended and it's going to be attacked. But if you keep in all the balls in the air of this particular juggling act of things like, okay, what cooldowns are up, what flashes are down, there's always that chance to collapse when the wards are either being attacked or defended.
It very much is house cleaning, dusting everything off, taking out the trash, going through, washing the windows.
It's chores. It's chores to put up vision. It's a disciplined process, and we'll see if Team Liquid has the discipline to make it work out successfully. EDG,
I thought there was going to be a PSA about doing your chores here for the viewers at home from you, Flowers.
No, come on, I'm not going to do that, man. You guys should be doing your chores anyway. I know you're all responsible here in the Twitch chat, as Olleh and the rest of Team Liquid now have themselves positioned around the top side of the map here. EDG doesn't seem too afraid. Scout gets himself away over the wall with the claw. Grand Entrance won't be finding him anytime soon, and EDG will back out of Team Liquid territory, back into that neutral river.
Good defensive vision around here, and here's the catch.
Pobelter in some trouble yet again. EDG are finding him time and time again. That's another kill going their way.
Watching some of the NALCS, I see that Pobelter sometimes has these lapses in judgment where he had previously control. His team was playing around vision control. It goes away, and he still plays and doesn't respond quickly enough. They had no control around this area, and Olleh is out of position as well.
Olleh in some trouble. Meiko goes in, headbutt, pulverized, goodbye. Haro claims that one.
He was just trying to do his chores. There was a ward there in the Baron, fellas. I mean,
don't do your chores when the house is burning down, Kobe.
Fair enough.
Get out of the house.
The mid lane turret going down, if we recall back to the answer that EDG had, actually led to a lot of these plays. You know, Pobelter did not have security of that turret to rely on in the mid lane. That's why he's here.
What does he have? Nothing.
Exactly. He's on an EDG ward here. Meiko finds him right over the edge. He also was trying to do his chores here, drop the control ward over the edge, and it seems like those are much more dangerous than we thought they were. Olleh also getting caught. Meiko, easy collapse here, and Alistar really showing why this pick, the reliable engage, also the reliable defenses of your ultimate after you go in, just so important in this world.
Don't do your chores when crazy farm animals are on the loose. The Alistar rampaging around the Baron Pit means there's no way out there for poor Olleh.
What is this conditional PSA you're doing there?
Back where I come from, this might actually be a very realistic thing. You live out in the country, sometimes there's some raging farm animals on the loose.
I defer to you on this one, Flav.
All right, this is my area of expertise, Papasmithy. You trust me. Raging farm animals, not something you want to have to deal with when you're putting down some wards in the Baron Pit. And right now, EDG will continue just picking up these resources in their jungle. They've closed the gold gap down to about 1.5K from the 3,000 it was earlier.
And I'd like to try to read the minimap and say, okay, where do we control? And for the side of TL, who is still in a gold lead, the answer is pretty limited vision. Yes, one river brush, which has caused them a lot of strife in the last few minutes, but they have to invade 3-4 man to get any vision, but they're looking for a pick.
Nice catch coming out from Team Liquid. They return the favor. You catch our mid laner, we'll catch yours.
All right, now it is Team Liquid with some agency around the Baron Pit. Trying to retreat out here, clear out some of that work that EDG did. Impact has been the one chosen, more tanky, to actually rotate over to the mid lane and try and hold off EDG's counter push.
You can still try to collapse on Impact, but it takes a lot of work to beat down that Sion. Decimating Smash going to be used there to make sure the wave doesn't do too much damage to the turret. Xmithie also hanging around to the side here, ready to jump in as Pobelter will continue pushing down this top lane. But EDG wants to collapse. You can see so many pings. On my way, on my way, on my way, on my way. Weaver's wall gets built to block off the exit. Pobelter's in some trouble. Ray's coming up after him there. No way to get himself out of this one. And once more, Pobelter in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, split pushing Syndra, definitely hard to pull off. No mobility here outside of your flash and merely walking around. So EDG with the Taliyah will not let you do that in a side lane, and Team Liquid are punished immediately after they find that pick on Scout.
I'm instantly reminded of DoubleLift's words. Yeah, when we get on stage, I don't know what it is. I don't know what happens. Instead of playing as a team, everybody's just paying attention to their own game and getting caught and making poor decisions. Pobelter has got to stop giving these away for free.
It's the reality of playing on the world stage where everyone around you is a champion, a second place, or a third place team. They are right up there in terms of competitive in their region. And the game state is changing and shifting so quickly. The seesaw, it's not a team fight seesaw like the previous game. It's been a vision battle. But in those couple of moments, Pobelter's held his summoners, died twice, and it feels like Team Liquid need to find a way to once again get agency over the map. They've used this time to get control wards over the Baron, but no realistic start on the Baron available for TL right now.
They will yield the first elemental Drake of the game that they haven't managed to find for themselves over to EDG. That is Mountain Drake #1 for the LPL representative. Is going to give them some more objective control as the game goes on, but no objectives other than that Drake have been taken in a little while now. Still 1 turret to 3 overall. Claw comes out from Scout, not going to try to go in on that one. Doesn't want to go in alone until the rest of the team arrives. But the TP's coming in to cut them off from downtown. DoubleLift and Olleh are not aware of this immediately. Now they're making their way out. TP's going to come in from Impact here as well. They're going to try to go on to Ray, start this fight off on the isolated Urgot. They'll burn him down to half rather quickly. Claw over the wall from Scout. Ray's already going to be killed. Olleh's making sure of that. Still trying to find more damage onto the carries as Pobelter falls off the side. It's the Alistar on the front line tanking up everything. But Meiko will fall. The carries from EDG trying to get themselves away. Haro barely got out as well with almost no HP, and Team Liquid control the fight.
Pobelter does die on the flank with the Syndra, but Team Liquid have the easy route into Baron. They've gone with the sweeper through the control ward, protecting him here. EDG have an idea, though, and they're coming to check.
Definitely the right time to start. Scout doesn't have his ultimate, but still can use Aftershock and be very tanky.
It's so hard to make this happen without the ulti. That's 2.5 seconds of invulnerability that you do not have. Team Liquid with Baron down to 4K. Impact's looking to disengage and find something. Stasis coming out from Scout, buying the time. DoubleLift goes up into the air, utilizing the power of the Xayah ultimate. Team Liquid will be stopped on their Baron attempt.
Yeah, Team Liquid aren't able to either finish the Baron or turn around to get a pick there. Scout getting in and then flashing out is the cost. So a summoner spell to stop the Baron, definitely worth it for EDG.
No Baron completion there, no stasis, no funny business. In the replay here, it was one of those who's flanking who situations as Ray went in early, but it was spotted with the visual. They turn onto him, and even though Scout and Haro can jump onto Pobelter, it's at the cost of EDG having any control of this 4-man unit of TL.
Exactly. I think it was a very intelligent ultimate early from Xmithie on the Nocturne. As the teleport comes in, the communication breakdown from EDG of where the engagement and the timing on that is why Team Liquid got the early jump. And then, of course, Pobelter there on the outside collapses with 2 of EDG's damage dealers so that they can protect.
Oh, what is it with this spot every single time? Team Liquid tries to do the chores here, and every single time, it's EDG saying, nope, not today.
Meiko's the one cleaning house tonight. He finds another kill. 7 kills / assists for him. That is 100% kill participation on the Alistar, and he is taking names.
Let's go back to champion select, gentlemen. It was EDG that got first pick onto the Urgot. It was Team Liquid that had the opportunity to take Alistar for themselves. They did not. And then when we saw the Alistar go over to EDG along with that top-tier top laner, we said, wow, looks like there's some serious power picks over here, and we're seeing that play out right now.
Still a real chance that the Rakan has a match-winning engage, but all the little nerfs to the durabilities will hold that point.
Speaking of engages, Xmithie going in, looking to find a CC down onto that Lucian. iBoy with a flash out to keep himself alive, means Team Liquid won't go any further with that one.
All right, so we back away from here. We take note of the fact that DoubleLift has hit 3 items on the Xayah, so has got a lot of threat on his side. See how the next team fight opens up, though. Once again, a vision world, but here's Ray.
Righteous Glory, trying to find his initiation, goes into the disdain, won't find anyone on the toss back. Team Liquid get themselves out on that one.
Syndra was in the top side. That's why they looked for an engage there. Don't find anything out of it. Ray's flash is down. We back away again, and this vision tussle continues.
Yeah, the game here really breaking down around Baron with neither team able to get full control. Now starting up the Baron again, EDG are forcing their hand.
EDG says full control, who needs it? We're just gonna force the issue right here. Keep your eyes on Olleh. That's gonna be the man to pull the trigger on the side of Team Liquid. If they decide to go in, it'll be off of that engage. TP gonna come in now from the side of EDG. Scout wants to make his way in here. Decimating Smash gonna knock 2 up into the air. Stasis gonna be used there. Olleh already popped the quickness. Looking to make that engage happen. Ray's gonna be taken very low. DoubleLift grabbing the kill onto him. Keeping himself kiting backwards now. Meiko the target of the fire. As Scout's not able to find anything. Drops the Stasis. Will not matter. Team Liquid's gonna find 3. The remaining 2 head for the hills. And Team Liquid head for Baron.
Critical mistake there from EDG, and Team Liquid with a huge punish. They've got 3 members off the board, and that is gonna be TL Baron.
DoubleLift free hitting the entire time, no threat onto him. The ultimate irony is the brush that has caused death 3 times is where DoubleLift can play around. No vision there, and that means that DoubleLift stays safe, and TL get the Baron.
Spawn said it earlier in the day. When it comes to AD carries, think about uptime. Think about how long you get to fire, and DoubleLift was all over it in this replay.
And this was a risky fight for TL. They had Featherstorm down, other important cooldowns were not available. I love Impact, though. He gets the double stun up, and that's where TL pulled the trigger.
Scout uses his first stasis there, invulnerable, and he's going to use the second one, but he doesn't get any damage off. Meanwhile, DoubleLift, as you both point to, just melts through the front line and is able to take them front to back.
This is a very good omen for Team Liquid. Good Lord, man.
He does more than the entire enemy team.
4,000 damage. Yeah, everybody else on EDG put together doesn't equal what DoubleLift was able to do in that fight. Incredible damage output from him, and it puts Team Liquid in a spot where now they're seriously in control over this game. You've got an entire row of tier 2 turrets standing, and when you've got that and you've got Baron, it's free money every day.
And to me, that team fight was a trust fall for TL. That was DoubleLift saying, I have the items, we can win this. Doesn't matter if Featherstorm is unavailable, the Sion ult is down. I am at an item timing where I trust in my damage, and between the Zeke's Convergence and DoubleLift, the front line died where they stand.
I mean, we gave credit over to the side of EDG and Meiko for their Alistar having them 100% kill participation. DoubleLift currently at 7 out of 9 for his team. 0 deaths on that Xayah so far. Xmithie also sitting on 0 deaths as now the fight's going to be breaking out yet again. Xmithie on the middle of the fight, going to be taken down with the Guardian Angel passive coming up here soon. The flash away from Scout, trying to keep himself alive. Ray's going to be soaking the damage for a very long time, but iBoy's going to be shut down by Pobelter. That's Team Liquid picking up 2.
Credit to the front line from Team Liquid as well. Once Impact arrives on the Sion, he is able to zone the entire damage output from EDG, allowing Team Liquid to clean that fight up. And that one is a fight lost where Team Liquid have the Baron buff so they can heavily take their rewards out of EDG's base.
EDG has 2 carries and a frontliner that has no ultimate to be that proper front line. Their base is going to crumble under the might of this push from Team Liquid. Xmithie is headed into the top lane to make sure he gets that push going so they can try to make something happen in that last remaining lane with this last remaining minute of Baron. But the Baron power play is already at 7,000 gold.
And it's moments like these, the last team fight into taking 2 inhibitors that show the fallback fundamentals that TL have brought, dominating North America. We're gonna watch the replay where it was initially Scout having to self-ult out of emergency, but the Sion ult here was massive for TL.
Yeah, Olleh went in and made him change his plans completely. Once Impact arrives, they zone him up. Syndra also being able to let loose with the ultimate there, finding the kill onto iBoy super early on, allows them to then turn onto Ray. And once again, it is Ray who gets stunned up.
Ray's trying to stop this Team Liquid gameplay, but it's not going to happen yet today. They take him very low as now Olleh's going in, able to find the damage and the CC on Haro thanks to Pobelter. It's shutdown credit coming out for the side of EDG onto the enemy jungler, but Liquid still looking to take the fight here for themselves. Scout goes over the ball, looks to find something, won't find anyone so far. DoubleLift pops the QSS, DoubleLift finds the kill, DoubleLift dominating, and Team Liquid is on the victory march. iBoy avoids the scan of the week for now. The orbs go over the wall, the Alistar goes down, Impact goes in, iBoy's on the run. Team Liquid want to be the grasp of the dead and pull EDG down with them. They want to prevent that tiebreaker. They want to exit the world stage and win, and they are gonna do it. They'll take down EDG and bust that Nexus.
And Team Liquid get their victory, get their revenge on EDG for the loss earlier. What a victory here. They were caught out many times in this game, but still persevered in the end. Good team fighting around Baron allows them a hold on this game.
And Team Liquid have spent the entire year after stacking this roster trying to be the pride of North America. Unable to do it at MSI, barring a good second round robin. Unable to exit the group, but once again, just like the Buffaloes yesterday, heads held high. They've once again thrown this group into a bit of pandemonium as no longer does EDG control their destiny. KT Rolster with a win over Mad Team will be first seed.
And with KT's performance so far, you have to admit that that is highly unlikely. Team Liquid have done a service to KT here by making them avoid that tiebreaker and taking down Edward Game.
Feels like the ultimate irony. People always pointed to the C9 SKT groups in the past and said that SKT would do the job for the side of C9. Now the telecom team is flipped, and suddenly a big service by TL for KT.
North America pays its debts. Team Liquid, an incredible win from them over Edward Gaming, especially what we said at the beginning of the game. EDG was just coming off an equally incredible win over KT, if not more incredible, taking down this team that just looked unstoppable. And now for Liquid to immediately turn that on its head and say, no, you're going down this time. Incredible showing from them, and for more on how they ended it and ended their tournament with a win, let's leave it to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, Captain Flowers. A bittersweet exit to the tournament for Team Liquid and North America's 1 seed as they do get the victory over EDG, but it isn't quite enough to keep them in the tournament.
Do you want to wear the hat?
I put it on like my ear or something.
Right,
like,
yeah.
This is it's such a weird feeling. North America and TL hate tiebreakers so much that they had to make sure that EDG couldn't have one for first seed. We'll still see if that happens depending on if KT beats Matt or not. But I like the bittersweet word.
I was going to say, I don't want to downplay the significance of the victory and how well Team Liquid played to get it. it's more a reality of the situation to have fallen so, to have been so close and yet been so far.
I think it's been that question of, why now? Why didn't this happen the first time? And the idea of pressure. Is this simply the glare of the spotlight is too blinding for TL that when all of the pressure is off, finally you can see the North American team take the stage? And does that mean that they will never be a great team because they can never meet those expectations?
Olleh had some sick engages this game, right?
He played his best game of the tournament.
I was going to say, let's remember that during the first round robin, it was this Rakan pick that we were all kind of, away from because it didn't look pretty, and here he returns to it in the final game of the tournament.
Yeah, Dash, you and I off air had some conversations about whether or not this felt worse or better.
Yeah.
And I think there are people out there that will have both opinions. My opinion is that this feels better, even though you're sad that this TL couldn't show up when it did matter. You're still happy that they didn't go 2-4. Like, when you look back at this tournament, you can go, okay, 3-3. If EDG didn't take down KT, you can think, hey, they would have been able to play for a tiebreak.
Right. Purely from a record standpoint, I would have trouble debating that point, right? That I'm looking at it and go 3-3, well, that's more successful than 2-4. Where this stings for me as an NA fan is exactly what Frost was saying, is I'm watching this and going, so why did it take us till game 6 to get to the point where we played to a level that would have gotten us through to the quarterfinals, right? If they had done this one other time in the group stage, that's the difference maker, and I think that's where it'll stink. That's where it'll hurt as an NA and a Team Liquid fan at the World Championship, is just go, well...
Sure. I mean, I understand everything you guys are saying. If we zoom out a little bit, like, if we look at TL versus EDG, ends up 1-1. So we can say, based on those two games, EDG had one where they looked pretty good, and then TL had one where they looked pretty good. So it ended up being very close. What ends up hurting TL is not the fact that they can't beat EDG because they just did. It's the fact that EDG had that game against KT where they overperform, where they managed to get to a late game point and play really, really good team fights. So that's why EDG are now sitting here. And they're obviously mad because they were supposed to ride that high from the KT game straight into smacking TL down and getting a tiebreaker for first. But man, they came down fast.
I also think it was a bit of a race to who was going to figure out how to play this group. And if you think that each group has an individual meta, or maybe there's a tournament meta or what it was, but the fact of the matter is if you look at TL's picks, it's almost like they don't have the confidence, and then as they ramp up and they find that confidence, they trade away the Galio picks, they pick up things like the Syndra, they're moving towards the LeBlanc, Olleh is now performing on the Rakan, they start ramping up and finding that inner fire, whatever it might be, but it was almost too little too late, whereas EDG had that fire straight out of the gate.
Yeah, and to your point about, the EDG game against the KT game being ultimately the decider for Team Liquid either being in or out of the tournament, while that's entirely true, again, from my perspective, I think the issue there is that Team Liquid doesn't have control over that. What they had control over was either beating EDG the one other time or taking one game off of KT.
Coming into today, I feel like they circled on the whiteboard, gotta beat Mad, we gotta beat EDG. And they did those two things and it wasn't enough. But the thing that I can't say for certain is if they would have played like this, if this game mattered. Right? That's the really hard thing to come to terms with, because we've now seen 2 international tournaments in a row. They go 0-4 at MSI. Then they think like, there's no way. Then they go on a run. They win like 4 out of the next six games, right? They end the group stage at 4-6, and here they do it again. So the mentality, I feel like, of this team, it is becoming more and more clear to me that is actually their biggest problem, is the big pressure moments. Because even though there's no way EDG was taking this game lightly, like they beat a full strength, full momentum EDG that was probably looking past to KT, but still needed to win this game, and they beat them soundly, but they just didn't do it when it mattered.
This is actually the most frustrating thing as an analyst when you are watching a team play and you go like, well, if everyone performs and everyone are able to perform on stage, they can do things like we saw here against EDG. So you try and you base your analysis a little bit around that, some of your prediction around it, and then they go on stage the first week and everything kind of falls apart. They talk about how, they're not on the same page, people don't perform the same way on stage anymore, and then they end up doing this when nothing matters. It just makes it extremely frustrating, and I can fully understand why both the players on TL are probably really mad, and also the fans.
Right.
Because you see this as the ending, which is weird because this should have been your tiebreaker game you just secured.
You wanted to see them play again.
Without a doubt. That said, again, I don't want to take away from the performance of the team in this game in particular. So MasterCard player of the game, let's talk about him. It's DoubleLift once again here on the world stage.
And the thing is, the fact of the matter is that DoubleLift is going to get a lot of flack, but ultimately, you know, it was in a meta where it was Xayah. When he did finally get to play, when he was given the power to play the lane phase, I think he did play the lane phase quite well.
Yeah, and this Xayah game was solid against an iBoy Meiko lane, which is extremely strong.
Without a doubt. Now the question is or not the question, now the last thing I want to talk about is just the EDG kind of return to earth, you know, in response to this Team Liquid victory. We are assuming a KT win in the next game, which means we don't get a tiebreaker. There is that off chance that Mad Team picks up the victory, and they do actually have to play KT again. But should there be any concern around EDG and the volatility of beating the #1 LCK team and then losing to a team that looked like it was, you know, struggling more than it should throughout the, you know, the first half of the group stage?
This is the most classic EDG moment that could have had. I guarantee that RNG's stomach has just bottomed out seeing EDG take second seed if KT lose or beat Mad Game next game. Because again, it just takes one draw, and EDG have that record that they are the Chinese killers. They do really well against domestic teams.
Alrighty, well that's going to do it for Team Liquid at the World Championships. But for more on his tournament run, Shox is standing by with Team Liquid's bot laner.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with DoubleLift, closing out the World Championship with a win, but I can imagine not extremely happy about that. I'm gonna just give you a chance to give your first reaction after your final game at Worlds.
It reminds me of what Jizuki said after, in one of his interviews. He's like, you know, I feel kind of good, but mostly I feel empty. Yeah, like, it sucks. I feel like crying, but I just don't want to do that, so... It sucks, you know, like I don't know what to say. It just, we tried our best, that's all. I did everything, everyone on our team did everything they could, and it wasn't enough.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was a rough group. I see that you're struggling with emotion, so I won't make this any longer than it has to be. Is there just anything else you would like to say to the fans that have supported you forever? Will be a bit rough now, but we'll keep supporting you guys.
I think it's good to have high expectations of the teams that you want to see succeed. Like, it's not acceptable that I go to Worlds every year as the first seed and I shit the bed and I never perform and my team never makes it out of groups. And yeah, I mean, geez, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional actually.
Oh, that's all right.
No, but it's been 8 years and I can't do this thing, but I'm never gonna give up, so that's what I want to say.
I mean, I think that is the message to go with. As said, we won't make this any longer. Thank you so much for even talking to us. I know how hard it is, and I'm sure that we'll be seeing much more of you in the years to come. Thank you very much. We're gonna take a quick break. When we're back, it is KT up versus Mad Team. Don't go anywhere.